Welcome to the Essence of You podcast. My name is Stephanie Schechter. I am an entrepreneur, conscious wellness coach, and Reiki practitioner. My goal with this podcast is to empower you to live as your most authentically aligned self, provide tools for you to harness the infinite healing power within, and share some insight on how to do so. Now, let's get to the show. Today, a soul sister, Sabina, and I have an amazing chat. I met Sabina back in 2018, and then we went our separate ways. I moved to California. She ended up moving, and we just had similar journeys, and then meeting back full circle, kind of doing similar things, and in the healing quantum leap realm. And just, it's so nice having a friend like Sabina where you can just, go a couple years, just say hi here and there, and then come back and it's like no time has passed. So we talk on how our healing has been and Steph's best and a little bit about her business, Quantum Babe. So I hope you enjoy this episode.
So basically you're saying a common mistake you see is anxiety in people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anxiety, heart palpitations, terrible sleep.
Yeah.
Just your body beginning to try and tell you that something's not great. And
something's up.
You can get to these places simply by, practicing meditation, journaling. Slowing down is huge so that you can get into your body and hear what she or he has to say.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And, that's crazy because, I remember during COVID, pre-COVID, you remember how when I worked at the gym, it was always like a go, 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 go. And you don't really have time to, calm down and notice these things, But then as soon as COVID hit, you can't see someone. So I definitely had to slow down, so much and recognize that, oh, my God, my body's telling me all these things. I am anxious about this. And it just was a time where I was like, okay, something needs to change. I need to address this differently than just journaling about it or just talking to somebody about it, right? There are other tools that need to be implemented. So yeah. So what is it that you do? What is it that you recommend here? What is it? How did you start out in transition? Because I remember when I first met you, you did fitness, right? And then we didn't talk to each other for a while, and then I saw you again, and you were doing more healing work and Reiki, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. I'm also doing some things. I'm not doing Reiki, but I'm also in my healing journey, and I'm like, how amazing is it that now she shows up back in my life?
Yes.
How did you get into that? From
Beautiful.
I know, right?
I got into it because first, I'm not sure. Yeah, at that time I didn't have Steph's best, but I just adopted the norm of having, bad sleep, that I was working on it, and just always high anxiousness. And I just thought, okay, that's just my person. That's just how I am. And then a couple of years later, I had got diagnosed with hypothyroidism and hormone imbalances. I'm like, tried to go the holistic route. And that's where I created Steph's Best, because it was basically an anti-inflammatory diet. And I was so just dumbstruck at all the things I couldn't have. So I'm like, I'm going to make something that I can have. And that was part of it. That was part of the healing. However, there was under the surface was way more.
5% of healing that we think we need, but there's a whole 95% that we don't even know about, right?
Yeah. It was inner child healing.
Exactly. The behavior, why are we doing these things,
It stems from that. It's
exactly. And, being fitness, when we were into fitness and coaching people directly, it was we're doing the healthiest things that we can, right? And it's why am I getting diagnosed with this? It's a shock,
right? Not even healthy. It's what our minds perceive to be healthy, but necessarily it's not, because you're not fully slowing down and letting your body do the talking.
Okay.
Like,
So when did you realize that like you had to do mindset work instead of just like going at it with like the healthy like workout, healthy diet, healthy lifestyle? You know what I mean? When did you recognize that there had to be more than just being healthy on like this like behavior level, like we're
yes,
just doing workouts and eating healthy?
I had a deep just knowing that there was something that I didn't know about.
Okay.
And that got me curious. And so I had done a slight medicine journey that
Hmm.
opened me up and like instantly remembered.
Wow.
And molested, not by my dad or anything, but it was a father figure of sorts. And then that's when the healing and work started. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. It took not even the sleep, the anxiousness, it took the thyroid, and even more. It was just nothing was fixing it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And there was still, in hindsight, I didn't know how to love myself. And hindsight's always 20/20 vision, right? It's gorgeous. And
100%, right? It's like, oh yeah, I could have done this. Yes.
so I instantly started doing, somatic healing, Reiki. And the more I healed myself, the more, so I had a full roster of, private clients when I was
Yeah.
living in LA. And slowly as I'm healing, I start to feel different things with them. I'm like, your body doesn't want this right now. Like, I need you to sit down. And so after months of feeling that way, training them, I finally acted on it. And I'm like, in my mind was like, you don't know what you're doing. Stop. Like, just train them. I'm like, just trust me. It's like this inner dialogue of,
Yeah. And then the imposters are like, should I be doing this? Is this okay? But then your mind's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then, yeah, like, go, trust me. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's always the whispers.
It's
And
always, yeah.
it just became amazing. And they start to ask for that instead of the training. They're like, oh my God, I don't know what you just did, but can we do that again?
Right?
So then I worked with a Reiki master, mentor, showed her what I had and explained everything. We worked together for a bit, and then she's like, some people just have it inside of them, and until you do
Yeah.
your healing or whatever, it won't come out, or you just suppress it.
Yeah. So basically you unlocked your gift.
Mhm.
So basically you unlocked your gift.
Literally, yeah. It was like in
That's,
this treasure.
and when was that? When was that? Like,
I'd say 2.5 years ago.
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, I saw you before that, but then something shifted and I noticed it. I was like, oh my God, something's different about Steph, you know?
We saw each other during COVID for,
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
we'd be like, can we go here? Is this open? Is this safe? And then afterwards, this is now we're meeting up. It's so crazy how time passes like that. But yeah, so you went through Reiki training. Like, what's that like?
Not through her. I just would ask her questions, do it on her, and asked, do you need to get this whole BS behind certifications? Yes, you need it for some things.
Right.
Like, and I asked her, she goes, well, I would tell you no, because you clearly know what you're doing. And the more you do it and listen to your intuition, the more it's going to guide you in the way that it wants you to work, instead of going to a class and learning from someone else how they administer.
Exactly.
And it's like you could teach a class eventually how you administer. It's the same thing. Don't let it skew how your body naturally wants to work, because it might have you doubt, like, oh, am I doing this right? Those are for people who just don't have it or want to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Who want to make you learn it as like a skill rather than tune into like a gift that's been there
My whole life. And I've heard, because I have communication with whatever you're going to call, and source,
universe, whatever.
people, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's been suppressed since that incident when I was 6.
So what made you like, I'm curious, what made you like suppress it? What were the things that you heard that you were like, oh, maybe I shouldn't listen to this?
what are the things I heard in my body?
in your life, like, growing up, because like if you had this gift, right, and it took a while for you to, go on a journey and be like, oh my God, I have recognized that you have this gift. But what was happening before that? What were some of like the limiting beliefs of tapping into this gift?
I just thought that it was weird. I was just different.
Yeah. I think it was like,
Feeling these feelings, I'm like, okay, it's just weird. Like something, I always thought something was wrong with me.
that's so weird. Yeah.
I was like, why do I feel this way? And like talking to someone else and they're trying to gaslight or whatever it is. I'm like, no, like I, something's wrong. And they're, no, I'm like, okay, like maybe I'm just weird. Why do I feel this way? And it always got put back on me. Like, okay, like I wonder if I did something wrong. It was never a thought that it was a gift.
Yeah. And I'm sure you had to like become more aware of tuning into those feelings, right?
Yeah, it was a process. It was a whole journey, forgiving and releasing multiple releases. I say death, rebirth. There was a lot of that.
Expand on that if like somebody doesn't know what that is.
Death, rebirth of, dying to old ways, so to speak. And it almost hurts because you've been operating out of one space and it's so habitual the way you think and feel that moving into this other, you almost mourn that loss of you, that skin, shedding. You can also say shedding.
Like snakes.
Yep. My ears, your snakes in Chinese.
Really, that's so cool. I think mine is a horse. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. I totally, relate to that, because one of the times that I had a really crazy session with a healer, and I remember she was like, you have to kill your previous version. Like I was mourning my like pre-pregnancy version of me. Mm-hmm. And it was so many emotions, so much that I was holding on. I was like, I'm going to go back to that. And then it was like, you're not going to go back to that. Like she's done, and just moving forward beyond that to a newer, better version of me. It was so crazy. And
it's like grace.
It is.
Surrender and acceptance.
Surrendering and acceptance is like a huge lesson that I personally learned through pregnancy. It's crazy. It's just like trust it, surrender. Because I don't know, I've always been like a logical person that's just like, it has to go this way. But then it was like, oh, but there are other ways these things can happen. It's been so mind opening,
I can imagine.
Yeah. All right.
And I will say, the more or if people work with me and when they do, it melts anything that's not you. I call it finding your essence, like reconnect. It's like a plug that's been, tattered. We reseal that plug because you are everything. You are the life force. You are the creator. You're the experiencer. You are your own lover. All of it.
Yeah, it's huge on self-love and,
So if you're constantly running from that and it's just flapping in the wind, like it's going to get exhausted.
Yeah.
Go back and mend that relationship with self. And that's, inner child. That's why I say inner child healing. It's constantly the child always there or just older. So having that gracious communication and patience and love and seeing, oh, I see these habits. Okay. What do you need right now? Like, how can I support you? Is it okay if we do it this way? Like, is it okay if we just try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And would you want to explain what inner child healing is for someone that's never like heard of it?
I would say if you can remember, when most kids do, remember one memory, or if something instantly comes to your mind, like right now as you're listening to this, like something that happened when you were a kid, like It could have been you didn't get picked up from school on time and you thought someone wasn't going to come. And ever since then, you felt hurt, betrayed, or left, or you didn't get, it could be anything, car wreck, abuse, anything. We just kind of say and accept, okay, that just happened. Yes. And we can still go back and nurture and love that, let's say, 8-year-old
Mm-hmm.
that felt got his feelings hurt because he felt like his mom or dad wasn't going to come get him. We can still go and say, like, they're just running a little late. They're going to be here. Literally parenting yourself, going back to these monumental moments that, strike this gust in you, and just nurturing just a little bit, loving.
Yeah. And these things show up in your body later in life. It's not like it's going to show up at that time. It might, but you don't know how to process it. But as you grow, these things get louder and louder, right?
And time's not linear, right? So if we go back and heal that 6, 7, 8-year-old, everything in the now unfolds and almost switches the gears like in a clock.
What do you mean by that?
That time's not linear. It's happening now because
Time is.
well, your brain doesn't. So if I'm sitting here thinking about a memory, your brain doesn't know that it's not happening right now. Because if you can feel it, sense it, taste it, it's happening now, even though it happened 10 years ago.
Creates the same situation from that memory now.
Absolutely. Like, excuse me, throat chakra. Hi, I'm speaking.
Hey, you're speaking about something here. Yeah.
You're now, baby. So if I go back and I go think about me 10 years ago in this one moment, I'm in the now, but I'm bringing that in the now. So I can heal that. And therefore the ripple effect of healing that to, like, right now, when I say, okay, I feel good about that, it unleashes things that are supposed to come your way. And it also releases things that are supposed to leave.
Yeah.
You know?
So like from your example, when you did your inner child healing, what's like a difference you saw? Like what changed?
It was a slow change. It took a while, but I saw knowing what love felt like to receive it and not feel like a burden, and know how to ask for what I want, learning how to speak up. Self-love has been huge. Honoring my body, my boundaries, saying bye to people that no longer serve who I am at this time in my life, and not feeling bad about it. Releasing judgment.
Exactly.
If you judge others, you're really just judging yourself.
Wow, that is so powerful. You judge others, you're really just judging yourself. That's big. That's so crazy because I've hung out with so many people and there's constant judgment. And now I'm just like, oh my God, this is all about you.
Yes. And as you know, and if there's that, I'm very particular of who I surround myself with. I'm very particular about who I spend my time with, even texting.
Yeah.
It's energy. It's an exchange. I'm like, do I want them in my force field? Do I want them in my hologram?
Oh my
No,
God.
it's no power and nothing against the person. It's just where I am. And
you've come so far in your journey not to be like, okay, fine, I'll give this person another chance. And then they mess up things again and you're back to square one. That's just.
Well, and there's the other thing. I don't believe that it's always ever a square one, because who you were when that first square happened to who you are now that you've implemented and learned these tools, now it's time to integrate. So if you do something that you had already done or been somewhere you have already been, it's a fresh start. You now have different ways to go about from here on out. Just having that awareness is key.
I 100% agree. And like, once you know, I believe that once you know something, you will not unknow it. you know? It's like something you know about yourself. You're like, you know what? I really don't want to accept these lower frequencies in my life. And then you know it, right? And then now you can be more aware of what is lower and what you don't want, you know?
Well, one thing with that is also is you can know and not act. So I say knowing and not doing is not knowing. And that's
That's true.
okay. That's okay because we've got to be ready. So then it's knowing and setting those boundaries
Wow.
and putting ourselves first before anything else.
That's huge. Yeah. There's so many times that, as a mom, it's hard because you're like, I have to take care and make sure you live, but the days I give myself some time and I put myself first, I'm like, let me just go do this meditation and then feel good afterwards. I'm like amazing. But, it's just little things. So what are like some things that you do on a daily basis that like are different now, you know?
On
Like,
a
what have you added or let go of throughout your like daily routine?
What I have let go of is, how I said let go of judgment. I have and do honor what my body wants to do in terms of movement. If
Mhm.
it's a walk, great. If it's yoga, great. If it's nothing,
Mhm.
I trust you. Fully honoring myself. I've always done meditations, but it was more so just to check the box. Uh,
Mhm.
Now it sets my day. It is what starts my day. Meditating, gratitude, journaling. I'll play sound frequencies, just
Yeah.
full stillness and giving myself that time before I jump into the day. And even that idea of jumping into the day, I can still keep my heart rate calm and get to work and get everything done. It's been this whole, because it was so ingrained in my body that getting stuff done, I had to be busy in my mind and heart rate high, caffeinated,
Like,
running around, didn't have time to think, didn't have time for anything. And when I feel, even today, I'll give you an example. When my day was starting, my heart was starting to rush. I'm like, it's okay. Like, can we calm down a little bit? And
yeah.
I was asked to just put my stuff aside for like can you just sit with me for 5 or 10 minutes more? And I'm like, okay. And then I cried. I just cried and I held space for myself. And then it was like, okay, are we okay to, begin? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And that's all I needed. And that 10 minutes prevented me from a day of flutter and discombobulation. Potentially. I would have caught it at some point, but just starting then, noticing how my heart, I was like, I haven't had any caffeine. There's no reason my heart should be racing right now.
Wow, that's very good self-awareness. Yeah, wow. And that's just releasing emotions, just crying it out. And it's just energy in motion there.
Literally. And I didn't even realize, I wasn't sad about anything. I didn't feel like I had to cry. And that's, like you said, releasing the emotion because it's
Yeah,
trapped inside. It just wants to run. Just wants to
right.
be free.
Exactly. I see it as like just energy is in motion. It's moving and like whatever's coming up is going away. And then that's how I see it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting a lot of emotions coming up right now. And that means this is time for me to let go and release it.
Absolutely.
And it's been so freeing. I think that's one of the more emotional intelligence things that I've learned since pregnancy. I'm not even joking. Like I was such a hard person. Like I like would never cry. But something changed, I guess. Like my mind just shifted and different connections were made through pregnancy. And now I'm like, okay, I'm getting emotional about this. But like now I know and I recognize and I let it flow. And it's fantastic. And that's so beautiful because you definitely like pretty much I want to say you saved your day. Like you took 10 minutes and you were like, let me address this. You
Even though I had already spent time in the morning, I'm like, oh, you need a little, and I even said it out loud too. Nothing's off limits, guys. If you're listening to this, nothing is weird. Nothing is just too out of the norm, if you need to, stomp around and scream and cry or laugh or do whatever you got to do, it
Yeah.
helping you get this emotion out.
Exactly. And it's crazy. You're gonna be like, Sabina, all your examples are your kid right now. But
No, it's
I see it. I see it. Like we literally are born and we learn how to release this energy just naturally, right? We like cry about it, yell about it, stomp, fall down to the floor, roll around, right? And she does it. And I'm like, but then sometime during our life, someone's like, that's not okay. And then you're like, oh, I can't release this emotion this way anymore. But like literally, I will see my daughter get upset about something and she'll like stop, 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 stop. And then she'll be fine after.
Or it's hilarious seeing them throw themselves on the ground, because before I had this awareness, say it happened in a store and you'd think, oh my gosh, shut your kid up. That's just where I used to be. And back then we didn't have as many, aware parents. So they would say, stop acting like that or slap you or hit you. So what does it teach you? To suppress and just don't do that, because then I'll get reprimanded. It's bad.
Exactly.
So how have you seen your parenting skills shift?
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy because I've learned so much from her emotionally that I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I could totally do this. Not like I wouldn't go melt in a grocery store. But sometimes like if I was angry, I would notice that like I would just like keep it in my head, right? But then I'm like, no, this is teaching me that this can't continue anymore. But then I also need to get this energy in motion. So I'll like stop it out and be like, oh, I'm mad, right?
It helps.
It helps
like
so much.
Doing that heel tapping, just popping up on your toes, tapping your heels, and it just like shakes your body and it helps release anything that's really stored, in your hips, legs, wherever. And it just just making that noise and just getting your body moving.
Yeah, just like letting out, oh, what the heck, right? Like
that is a release.
That is a huge release for me. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like she naturally is teaching me how to get rid of these emotions that I sometime in my childhood learned to suppress. And it's been great because I've been learning so much.
It's a coping mechanism,
It really is. It really is. And now I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, okay, this is just a natural reaction of her emotion. Let it pass. And then we will deal with it in a different way, And
so is it hard?
It's not. It's not. Like it does take a lot of like more attention and patience because you're like, okay, she's acting this way. She's like melting to the floor because she wanted something, but she couldn't communicate because she doesn't know the words yet. So that feeling is like frustration and like, God, why don't you get it on? Right? And I can't be mad at that because she doesn't know. She literally doesn't know what else to do.
And then
so I'm like, okay,
guessing game. Like, is it this?
Yeah.
Is it this?
Exactly. So I'll like ask her questions like, oh, did you want to watch Miss Rachel? She'd be like, yeah, that's always like a yeah. But there are other options too. Like, do you want to eat something? Do you want to eat a banana? Like, and then she'll be like, no, or yeah. And then we communicate better.
Are you into human design at all?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I'm a
generator.
Yeah.
I think perfect. So then you already know how to talk to her and ask her questions in a way that she'll instantly, like think about being a kid at the dinner table and your parents say like, is that good? Mm-hmm. Do you want more? Mm-hmm. And it's like, stop making those sounds. You learned, use your words, and instantly your soul answer gets shut down. And it's like, oh, better not do that.
Right. It's so crazy how that happens. Yeah, but I'm also a generator. And I've noticed now when people ask me, like, what do you want to eat for dinner? I'm like, I don't know. But then if they're like, hey, do you want Chipotle? I'll be like, yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh. I'm a man gen. So it's same.
Yeah, my daughter is a man gen too. So I was like, okay, you know what? We get it. I understand so much of how to parent you through this human design. It's crazy.
Yes, that is so beautiful. I've learned to love the questions,
Yeah.
How about you ask? Can you ask me? Can you ask me? And then
yes or no question. Like,
yeah.
no. But if you're like, what do you want to eat? Then I'm just like, I don't know. There's so many options. Like, where do I start?
You're like, and then you're trying to ask yourself the questions inside.
And then I'm like Googling like food nearby. And I'm like, which option looks good? Oh my God.
Yeah. Get that.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas like now, like I remember when I learned this, I told my husband and I was like, hey, I just need you. Like one of the biggest like stupid things we would argue about is what we're to eat. Like he would want something. He's not very picky, but he's just like, pick something we could eat. And like I would always just be like, I don't know. Like I don't know what I want to eat. And then he would pick something and I'd be like, I don't want to eat there.
So such a fact. And the answer can be, I don't know, because I don't know right now. Like right now, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Ask me in 10 minutes, the same place, and it might be a yes. And I've had that before. Like, no. And then I'm like, let's give it a little bit. It's hilarious.
It's so crazy. Yeah. And and then now we make decisions so much easier because I'm like, okay, for you, it's also the same type of question. So I'm like, do you want this or not?
He's a
generator. That's the game, like efficiency. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Knowing how to properly, not that talk communication is it, but it's just a bunch of blabber. Like, it's just like source right now.
Yeah.
Human design has helped me so much.
Yeah. When did you learn about human design?
I'd say late 2021, or mid 2021, I had heard about it, but it just kind of didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And early 2021, I had someone, she was really good in astrology. And then she's looked over my chart. She's like, oh, you're this, that. I'm like, yeah, still doesn't make sense. And then I met this guy on Instagram. His name is Ben Life Changer. And
Ben changed your life. Oh my God.
Ben Life Changer. He just like is, and I'm going to do a podcast with him soon.
Oh, and wow. Can't wait to hear that.
After he's just like, he's been doing it for 10 years. He's just so good. And he studied under the guy who toured with Ra himself. Yeah. So he has a way of explaining it to where your design will absorb it.
Oh, wow. Because that makes sense because we learn through different things. Oh my God, that is so cool. I need to see this guy. Yeah.
And I'm on this, he has this little monthly email thing. Yeah, but it's a whole wellspring of knowledge of anything human design. Just, it's really good. So I'm on that too. And then I'll get sessions randomly, but he's good.
He is really good. Yeah. I remember when I also learned it around that time, like I think it was before I was pregnant. It was like 2020 is when I learned it. Okay. And I just got obsessed with it. And then I went and I'm like, let me try to figure out what all my things are, how you do that. And I was just like, I'm so confused. Oh my gosh. Right. So then I just like hired somebody to, I got sessions and it was awesome because she literally was like, this is your life and this is how you like work. And it was so freeing because I was like, oh my God, I've always felt like I should do this, but I don't because it feels weird,
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, like for example, and then I got it done for my business. You can do like human design for your business, and I got it done for Quantum Babe and just like my overall brand. And I was like, I remember in there, one of the things I learned was that she said, you're like one of your gifts is to talk to an audience, right? Coach more than one person at a time rather than just do one-on-ones. And it clicked with me so much because I was like, every time I would do one-on-one coaching with anyone, I like helping people, but like this one-on-one over time, I would just be like, oh, I'm so over this. But then when I moved to like group sessions, like worked with people like 3 to 5 people or more at a time, I loved it. I was just like in flow. It was just like so awesome. But that was really eye-opening to learn like, okay, this is how I work better.
And it's literally written in your chart. And I had Ben do the same thing because in my mind, I had had Steph's best, and he's like, "Are you sure?" You know, and I was going down doing Reiki, and I had clients. I'm like, "Oh, I want to help more people. I want to help more people." And he said,
Yeah.
don't you think that maybe, because he's seeing my chart, he knows, so don't you think that Steph's best is a nice way of helping people, and it opens that door while being able to infuse your quantumness, your healing energy into the spreads and getting it out that way where he'll hit thousands at some point.
Mhm.
Does that feel good? I'm like, well, yeah. And then I got word to start a podcast, and I started a podcast. And he's like, "Do you think that your mind is trying to tell you to just do one-on-one coaching because you think that's what is good or you're supposed to do because
Mhm.
other people or whatever it is?" And I'm like, yeah. And we
Oh,
got to this. I'm like, oh, yes. Okay. Using the voice frequency to help others, because it's, unless they're ready for that quantum leap, it's a lot for a person.
it really is. It truly is. And like, yeah, and you have to really, work on the different centers. You know how it says like in human design, when I was really shocked because I also was having trouble with my throat center. And it was just like, I knew that like one of my biggest fears was like public speaking. And now I have a podcast, which is crazy. but it was like for years, I was like, oh, I can't speak like to people. Like it was just a block that I had, right? And it was in my throat center, which is like not filled. So
Uh,
like I had to figure out how to basically engage that part of me. And it was like the whole last year and a half was about that. It was so crazy.
nice. Mine's totally defined.
That's amazing. Yeah,
I
yeah,
get choked up sometimes, and that's why I'll address it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, but that's fantastic. So go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, what is it that you do? You coach women?
Yes, I do manifestation coaching for like healthy bodies and removing limiting beliefs that are keeping you starting your workouts over and over again every year,
So helpful.
right? Because there are so many times that I would get clients who would work with me for a short period of time, and then a year later they'd be like, "Hey, I want to work out again," and it's the same pattern over and over and over again, where some type of limiting belief is like, "I can't continue doing this forever."
Mhm.
But it's like, it's your body. Like it does this stuff for you every day.
So honor it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So tell me a little bit about your peanut butter. I love that stuff.
That ever. Oh my gosh. Thank you for loving it. I love it too. It is
Yeah.
a fully allergen free cookie butter. And so there's no nuts, gluten, grains, dairy, soy, corn, egg, refined sugar. It's made out of air and magic. So it tastes kind of like cookie dough. So the whole premise is that I went on this clean wave anti-inflammatory diet. And I mean, at the time I couldn't have oats, eggs, any of it. And now I don't eat eggs to this day because they still bother me. But
Yeah.
I thought, what am I going to eat for breakfast? And so I created this spread just for me. And then it became popular among my family and friends. So I decided, I know I'm not the only one that has like either a nut allergy or intolerance or has any kind of allergy or intolerance. And this is really good. I want to provide this for people that have such a limitation, thinking that their cookie butter needs to be speculoos or Nutella. That's just
Yeah.
sugar and seed oils. Like,
Oh my
ugh,
God. When
gross.
I learned about Nutella, I was like so disgusted because it tastes great. Then I was like, I'm eating straight up like junk.
Canola.
Canola,
Yeah.
straight up canola, which is like canola's not even a plant.
No, it's
It's like,
it's
what the heck am I
going
eating?
to go down that road of canola oil. But yeah, we
No,
put seed oils, and it's just a delicious peanut butter alternative spread. Throw it in your smoothie, toast, fruit, rice cakes.
I
It's
made cookies with it and they were great.
Thank you. I'm like, I have to get ideas because I'll make, those in cups, like a sun butter cup, but with Steph's Best. on pancakes, and I'm learning, on TikTok, because I'm kind of new on there, that people like seeing recipes. That is when I posted one recipe, I realized that's like what people want to see, because they want to see how you can use it.
Yeah.
I just took a picture because I would just eat it with a spoon, and I still do. But most people want to see the versatility. So I have been getting really creative in the kitchen, filming things. I'm like,
Yeah.
new ideas.
What is it that you just filmed?
The most recent one I filmed, I made this molten chocolate like mug cake, so to speak, but it was in a big bowl with Steph's best in the batter and in the center, to where when I cut it open, it was melty. It was really good.
Oh my gosh. I gotta make that. Oh my gosh.
So it's like 3 ingredients.
What's in it?
It is
Drop your recipe, Steph.
right now. It is gluten-free flour. Well, a couple more but they're small. Gluten-free flour, Steph's best, almond milk, baking powder.
Yeah. And that's it.
And some cocoa powder. So, and then I just use the microwave. And before I put it in the microwave, I just put a big dollop right in the center, so it kind of sunk down a little bit. And maybe a minute and a half later, threw it on a plate upside down. It was all gooey and not Instagram worthy, but you know what? We're going to use it anyways. That's the reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, food that doesn't look Instagram worthy tastes freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. There's so many times I've made dishes and I'm like, I should take a picture of it. I'm like, it doesn't look cute, but it tastes bomb.
Trust me, you have to make this. And then of course I made the syrup.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. People love recipes. Like even I would post something online and everyone's like it'll do okay, like the end product, but the whole process of doing something, it just like is different. It just hits different.
Because it's soothing. I mean, think about it. When I was a kid, my sister and I would watch the Food Network all the time together. I loved it. There was just something so soothing about it. My mom cooked every meal. She was a baker. So I just love that. And I enjoy watching recipes that are cut cool. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to make what I like to watch, So I'm still learning and playing with the editing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But oh my God, I used to also watch Food Network growing up. And that's where I learned a lot of things. Especially I remember watching 30-minute meals with Rachel Ray. Oh. You remember that?
No, that's not 30 minutes because
really not. It's such a lot. But I was like,
prior, it's not.
Right?
And she's like feeding, not letting the stuff cook. Like, okay, and then you put this in there and let it sit. And it's like, okay, no, that's like an hour and a half.
It's really like exactly. I'm like, this cannot be 30 minutes. But it was just like, I wouldn't make it, obviously. But some things I would make, some of her dressings and stuff I would recreate. It's funny, and I just had a thought. I was like, how crazy is it? Like now we can just Google and like go on Pinterest and have a recipe compared to like back then where I would pause the TV and be like, write it down.
Oh my gosh.
I feel so old saying that, but that was definitely a great time.
So fun.
Yeah, but it's so funny.
That's just online. It's in a couple stores in Austin. So, we're active.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. So so what's in it if it's like, meals?
So it's 7 ingredients.
Okay.
Number 7. So it's sunflower seed butter, olive oil, agave, pea protein, cacao nibs, vanilla extract, and sea salt. Now, that's the original, and the cacao is the exact same, but instead of cacao nibs, it's Dutch cacao powder.
Ooh, that sounds so good. I haven't tried the
brown powder and cookie dough.
Okay, I have to try the cacao powder one.
It's bomb.
That sounds so good. That's the one you made the chocolate molten lava cake with?
Yes.
Oh my God. Because I was imagining you making it with the original one. And I was like, that would be good, but I wish it was chocolate. And then you literally have the chocolate one.
The chocolate. I did add a little more cocoa powder just for good measure, but
Yeah, definitely. Cocoa powder is just so good.
Oh my gosh. I have a cacao every morning. I don't drink coffee that much anymore. I like coffee and I love the smell. And occasionally I will, but it's cacao.
Wow, you're so amazing. I love my coffee. It just makes me feel so great.
Oh, that's awesome. And if I could drink it every single day, I would. But some mornings I'm like, no, don't want that.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
mornings, a matcha latte, some mornings, which is weird because that's definitely not my favorite either. But hey, I don't make the rules.
Like, hey, your body's craving it, right? Even I was like, I'm like, some days I'm like, I don't want to have coffee, which is very rare, but there are days where I'm like, I don't feel like having coffee, but then I'll go and have like, maybe a matcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe I need more of those matcha antioxidants today, and my body just knows.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't be able to order one from anywhere because I make mine special. They got to taste good.
Yes. Okay. So,
Stuff I put in there with my cacao.
I didn't know you could put cacao in matcha. Because
no, depending.
My matcha tastes very interesting, and I don't like it. So that's why I don't make it often.
Yeah. So I have found that doing more than a teaspoon will make it really strong. And I put a maca powder, a blend of mushrooms, and then I put a little bit of my favorite vanilla protein powder, and then some stevia. And what else? I'm looking over at my cabinet like it's going to jump out at me.
Like, what do I grab from there? Yeah.
I do some elderberry syrup.
Nice.
And one other thing that I put in there, minerals, because I think it needs a little touch of salt. So the minerals gives it that taste, and blend it up, and it's just thick and yummy.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. Okay, I will have to try your matcha because right now my matcha is not that good. But I do want to drink more matcha because of all the benefits. Yeah. Yeah.
Just try it out. Get, always, you don't need a full scoop of protein. I just do a little bit for, some sweetness and flavor, and a little more stevia because I like my things sweet.
Yes. Totally. Okay. Well, where can people buy this protein powder?
You can get the butter at bestofsteph.com. And then if you're in Austin, it's at Kuya, Tiny Grocer, Lamar Foods, and soon to be Pure Bar on William Cannon.
Ooh, that's so exciting. I miss Austin. Oh my God.
So where are you living now?
I'm in Virginia now.
Or is there family there?
Yeah, all my family's here, and like my daughter loves it, and I enjoy it. I don't know. I had a lot of allergies in Austin, so it was fun being there. I would live there if I could, but I just didn't like the constant like allergies every single day.
Your body clearly only was letting you know that this was temporary.
Exactly. My body's like, all right, we're done here.
Yeah. You got to honor that and listen. It's like, okay.
Exactly. Like I could have stayed and gotten the allergy shots and taken my Sudafeds and all this stuff, right? But I was like, this feels wrong. Like I shouldn't be living my life and like neglecting what my body's saying, Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go where my body's happy.
Aw. And how old's your daughter?
She is almost 2 years and 3 months. Crazy. But yeah. All right, Steph, it was fantastic catching up with you. And thank you so much for letting me be in your field.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. It was so nice chatting with you. And I love the 8, the figure 8. We met, boop, boop, boop,
Yeah. Like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by figure 8?
Like the figure 8, it's upside, sideways infinity.
No, but what is the meaning for that?
Well, that actually just came through right now, so I'll explain. The points where it starts at the curvature, we met, and then went our separate ways, and then crossed paths again, and now we're crossing paths again.
Oh my God, that's so true. Yeah, we've literally and it's crazy because in between we were like not even thinking about each other, and then bam, we're together.
Because it was back in 2018 that we met. Yeah. And then I moved at the end of 2018 to California.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we met during COVID.
Uh-huh.
And then we're here now. Oh my gosh. I love it. This is so amazing. Well, I really, really appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
And if you made it this far in my episode, thank you so much. I hope you're able to take away some key nuggets for your own journey. And if you haven't already, given this show a follow, and if it resonates with you, a review would really benefit me, as it just helps me see what you like and what you want to see in the future. So feel free to share away. All right, much love. If you haven't tried Steph's Best already, I highly recommend it. I will leave a code for you and the link in the show notes.